to ROGN, the Rogue Squadron news network. In tonight's news, reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. The mysterious malfunction causing shield failures in ROGN headquarters. Strange items left by home insurgents during the attack. Rogue forces undertake heroic efforts to recover one of their own. And home forces found raiding their own members again. First tonight. This last week, home insurgency forces attacked and raided the headquarters of ROGN. In the siege, I was taken prisoner by the forces of home and interrogated for days. The experience was both enlightening and disturbing at the same time. After being blindfolded, transported, then shuttled, then transported again, I was left in a dark room alone for 24 hours without food or water. When the door opened, the blinding light hid a home mercenary, dropping a tray of food for me to eat. At first, I refused the meal as I suspected it was laced with some sort of toxin, but after 3 days of refusing meals, I couldn't go without water any longer. Within minutes of drinking the water they left, I was knocked out and woke up sometime later in a brightly lit, mirrored room. Fortunately, the interrogation methods of the home insurgents left a lot to be desired. I've spent many years studying on Vulcan before it was destroyed, and I had learnt a number of techniques to counteract torture. To satisfy the home interrogator, I only needed to provide them with some nonsense I remember reading from the media history studies before they gave up. I thought some of the more psychotic insurgents were going to get their way, until they were prevented from any further action by a well-timed torpedo rocking the base, and moments later, Rogue Alliance rescue forces transporting me out of there. Thank you to the heroic efforts of members of Rogue, ANZ, RTH, Khan, and even the Borg. I'm back, reporting live from my recovery room to bring you the latest news in the ongoing war. But what led to this incident though? ROGN HQ performed a test of the new coaxial warp drive, jumping the station to the Yadro system to cover the raid of Holmes Philip Picard, which we reported on in the last update. The jump was a complete success and improves on the speed of station movement over the transport beaming method developed a few years back and employed by all factions today. The coaxial warp drive also achieves the same travel distance for much less power consumption. During the raid, one of the ROGN ships was infected with a new type of virus after docking with Philip Picard's station. On stardate 2019-1123.7, after the raid, ROGN jumped back to neutral space to cover the continued efforts to deny home and rogue forces of resources in this ongoing war. Around stardate 2019-1124.1, the mysterious virus caused ROGN HQ's shield generators to fail. Fortunately, home spies had not made it to that part of the space, and ROGN HQ was able to repair the issue, or so our engineers had thought. The repairs included fixes found for previous versions of this virus, however this time they failed to keep the shield generators up. Investigations are underway to determine the source of the shield generator virus, as well as the cause of the code changes in the most recent version. Computer analysts and engineers from all over independent space are beginning to suspect it has something to do with an artifact recently discovered and currently being decoded by the AI known as Maya. On stardate 2019-1125.2, ROGN HQ's shields fell again. This time after a second test of the coaxial warp drive brought the station to Rata in the Romulan space. Unfortunately this time, home spies aided by the Romulan Tal Shiar were quickly made aware of the issues. As shown here in this footage, left behind by one of the attacking vessels, it didn't take long for our defences to fall, and all stored resources to be raided. A total of 120 million in various resources were raided from the stores of ROGN, severely hampering our ability to cover galactic news. If you would care to donate to our recovery, please do so via galactic broadcast channels by hitting the like and the bell notification buttons, subscribing and sharing ROGN with others. Returning back to ROGN, I've discovered that strange items were left behind by the lead raider Philip Picard, known currently as Silly Philly, which later raiders 7 and 9 and USS Scorpion mistakenly assumed were owned by ROGN staff. These items were found left in the base when I returned. Several crates were recorded being unloaded by Silly Philly before ROGN stores were raided. ROGN reporters thanked Phil for his presence and put the question out on galactic comms to ask him, or ask the other home leaders of Psychosis or Econ, if the bottles of frog lube worked effectively. Unfortunately, ROGN received no response, which likely indicates the home leader had lied to the other home insurgents regarding the source of these crates, given his most recent ramming at the hands of rogue forces.
As the war continues, all alliances, independent or otherwise, have stepped up their attacks, hitting miners across the galaxy.
Rogue forces heroically raided several bases on the way to rescuing me from the clutches of the home insurgents. This footage directly contradicts the recent reporting from home, indicating that their, quote, liberation, unquote, of the galaxy is underway. Links to this footage are provided below in the attached reference material accompanying this report. Rogue forces systematically raided multiple home bases on their way to finding me, and this footage comes thanks to the remaining brave staff of ROGN who survived the initial attack and accompanied the Rogue forces on their quest to rescue me.
Rogue forces breached Federation borders in the early hours of the morning on day 6 of my disappearance. After scouring the system close to Independence Base, scouts found the base of Holmes Kasi, unshielded around the planet Viewer, in the system of Iogao. Before initializing the attack, Rogue forces installed the latest version of the SHIELD antivirus program in an effort to prevent further station SHIELD failures in the future. The attack on Kasi Station began in earnest around 0300. The rescue force of Unbuck, Mickey Blue Eyes, Mungo and Captain Caffeine stormed Kasi Station and were able to retrieve several valuable pieces of information as well as a modest amount of stored resources. On day 7 of the hunt into Federation territory, Rogue forces penetrated the defences of the station of Holmes Bones. After learning from Kasi Station the general direction Home forces were transporting prisoners to. The strike force of Harry Seddon, Mickey 01, Ozshock and Stargate SG-1 overwhelmed the station defences and began boarding. We cross now to a report by ROGN correspondent Windrow Dean.
In the early hours of the morning, the strike force I'm currently travelling with received a message from the vicinity of Kasi Station, redirecting us to the Federation system of Sinister. Here, we found the station of the home member known as Bones. With the station shield offline, Rogue forces were able to board the station and capture the home member, Bones, himself. After several hours, we were able to get verifiable intel pointing us deeper into Federation space. Returning Rogue forces have reported finding data in the station computers, which could be relevant, but the data is encrypted. It will take several hours to decrypt, even with the support of a space station computer, as the decryption keys were deleted during the attack. The task force has set course for a system on the way to our next destination to drop off the data to a Rogue member who specializes in this kind of work, and to resupply. The captain of our ship has been tight-lipped about our final destination. There have been rumors of home spies infiltrating Rogue comms and transmitting data in galactic channels. It seems the dishonor of the House of Martok is complete. Recent rumors also link home activities to the creation of the Klingon separatist movement and the growing forces opposing the Klingon High Council. One of the ensigns on the bridge at the time the transmission was received did provide us with a few details. We are to push further into Federation space towards the Sol system. While it's unlikely home forces will be held up in the Federation capital, their operatives may be uncovered there yet.
As reported, information gathered on Bones' station led the rogue forces to the Wolf system, formerly known as Wolf 359.
This is Jessica Massaro reporting for ROGN. We are into our 6th day in Federation space looking for ROGN founder and Chief Anchorman Lostpinky. Our efforts so far have not been fruitful, and we found very little information related to what the home insurgents have done with him. Over 100 years ago, my grandmother, Janet Brooks, reported on several major events of the time, including the Xindi attack on Earth, the formation of the Coalition of Planets, and the Earth-Romulan War. Today, we stand on the precipice of a full-scale war between the Federation, the Romulans, and the Klingons. In all this chaos, we find ourselves... Wait! Looking out the window, we can see several of rogue forces attacking Federation targets, and we've just received word that the transport carrying Lostpinky has been traced. We'll bring you more information as soon as we find out. This is Jessica Massaro for ROGN, signing out.
After fighting through several Federation patrols, rogue forces discovered I had been shipped to a station in Romulan space. This recently constructed defense station operated by the Tau Shiar in the system of Unruh became the final target of my rescue.
This is Trista Grau reporting from the Romulan system of Unroth, where an increase in activity around the newly constructed Romulan station, allegedly owned by the Tau Shiar, has led rogue forces. I'm currently on a ship joining the Armada at the staging point before the attack begins. It's now been 9 days since Lostpinky was taken hostage by the home insurgency, and as we look over the ship's scanners into the dark of space, we can see rogue ships continuing to battle enemy forces even now. Tau Shiar ships have been entering the system in an effort to prevent the rogue Armada from attacking. Romulan forces in the area are not as strong as expected, possibly due to being required elsewhere to deal with the Federation attack in the system of Nirvana, on the edge of Romulan territory. This officially begins the conflict between the Romulans and the Federation. Despite the arrival of more Tau Shiar ships, it's surprising there have been no signs of home insurgents or their leaders attempting to prevent the Armada from taking place. Recent reports from sources close to the insurgents indicate that their current perceived strength in the galaxy may only be due to efforts of a very select few members, and that some of those members are being forced into the fight by members of the failed Sword Alliance. Sword was an independent alliance which earlier in the year, under a misguided leadership who now reside in the Home Alliance, engaged in a war with the Rogue, which lasted only 4 months. During that time, several strategic errors led to the Sword forces disbanding into other alliances, leaving a broken shell of mostly abandoned stations. The few fanatics who remained later joined HOM, and are reportedly working their way up the ranks into leadership positions in an effort to overthrow the current HOM Council and take control of the Alliance's vast resources. As we prepare to attack this Romulan station to hopefully find Lostpinky, many Rogue members recall the destruction brought about by the tyranny of Sword. Today, the Sword Alliance still exists in name only, as any of its activities are being performed by a select few alternatives to the main leadership, which left them so long ago. I've just received word that the attack is about to begin, so we'll bring you more info after the battle.
And indicators are that with so many targets suffering shield values, HOM are able to grow more powerful daily. Current rankings have them at the top of the independent alliances in terms of power destroyed, and resources raided. Given this situation, it is surprising then that more recent footage has been sent to ROGN of attacks by HOM on their own players. In this shocking new footage, HOM actively kick member Batfink from their alliance and proceed to drain the base of all resources. This appears to have been timed with the Domination event sponsored by the Orion Syndicate recently, and directly led to the HOM Alliance being awarded top prizes for that round.
Seen here, Octo 1 has returned to HOM. As reported in our last bulletin, this member was residing in one of the various HOM Black Ops alliances, trying to recruit more insurgents. Additionally, members of the SET Alliance, now known as ORV Alliance, are in the vicinity, with rumours that the leadership of this small independent alliance are also puppets of HOM. The HOM Insurgency's very own propaganda creator Amorgin can be seen here aiding in the destruction of one of their own long-running members. This provides further evidence that the HOM Alliance are not as unified as we are led to believe, with factions inside attempting to gain power for themselves, while other factions seek to harass their own weaker members. As can be seen here, a member of the Rogue Alliance attempts to aid Batfink and prevent HOM from completely draining him. They successfully draw off several HOM ships from the main attack, destroying a few in the process. Additional rogue reinforcements arrive, attacking the ships before they can reach the base of Batfink, in an effort to help the now independent and kicked HOM member to retain some of his resources.
As a group, the House of Martok have been exiled by the Klingon High Council, those sought after by the House of Duras, found to be in bed with Federation intelligence, receiving both resources and ships as a result, while clearly working with the Romulan Tal Shiar at the same time. The question for the galaxy therefore must be, are you prepared to submit to the HOM insurgency, or will you stand and fight this growing aggression? I'm Lostpinky, reporting from my recovery room, signing off.
Hi peoples, the first part of this video is made possible thanks to footage of me being drained by HOM, given to me by Amorgin. So big thanks to Amorgin for that. If you'd like to help support growing YouTube creators who are not part of the content creator program, please head over to Amorgin's YouTube page and hit subscribe down below on mine as well.